Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about one of the use case where we are going to build Power Automate to scrape the data from any public websites. So if you have ever tried to pull the dynamic data and you must have encountered many failures because of JavaScript rendering, anti-bot defenses applied on the public websites. And Microsoft suggests their RPA, this Power Automate desktop, as an tool to scrape the data, but that comes with an expensive bill. That's a proper RPA license, and or like you may use the AI builder credits to do that. But in today's video, we are going to talk about almost free solution to scrape any website and to get the data using Power Automate to have that in place into Power Apps. So the target is to build a free, resilient, and cloud-based workaround so that we can combine the power of scraping the data and as well as leverage our Power Automate to do the processing or to turn that messy HTML data into our structured data. So the architecture would be like, we are going to use one third party that provides us this 1000 credits for monthly calls, that is Scrape.do, and it's almost a free subscription we can have, because if you want to have this 1000 credits, like which is pretty much sufficient to weekly get the scraping data out of any 4 or 5 public websites. So you need not to go to any payment subscription, but you can just start for free. And then like once we have the scraped data from the public website, then I am going to transform that data into structured data so that we can pass to our Power App. I'll show you a demo like where I have just created one not that good page, but it takes the site URL where I have provided this Amazon as a URL, and I'm clicking on this scrape data, and now I'm getting all the information from that public website with the links, with the images and the price. So the same solution we are going to build today in just 10 minutes. So let's get started. So just to have this free account ready, just sign up with your free account so that we can use the API endpoint from Scrape.do, and then with our API key we are going to make call. So we'll start building one new Power App, and I will start with page design because we are not targeting anything special over here. We are just targeting one text box, and then gallery. And then we will start with our Power Automate to scrape the data. So I'm just going to create one text box and to take the site as input. So I'm just going to align them. So just make you aware about like how we can use the almost free solution for scraping any data. No need to go for RPA or any paid license. So I'll just have one gallery in place quickly so that we have all our input controls in place before doing our Power Automate. So I'm just placing that. All right, so let's go to 3 dots and just add one Power Automate. So I'll click on this Power Automate and we'll start adding a new, and we are not going to use the existing one. We'll just build out from scratch. And to start with, I'm going to choose the trigger as when Power Apps calls a flow, clicking on create from blank. And in the input, I am just going to read that site URL from the input. So I'll just say target URL, and that we are going to take the input from our Power Apps form or the screen. And then I am going to make a call to HTTP, and this is HTTP call. It's a premium connector call. So I'll just make you aware that for this call, we have to have this premium connector in place, and we are going to do a get call because it's just getting the data. And in the URL, I will provide the URL of this app. So once you log into this, then you will get to the scraping API. So once you log in, like you can see, like you will have current API usage. So mine is pretty, like I made almost 8 to 10 different calls with number of data. So still only 70 credits are used, and you can have concurrency usages as well. So if you just need to test it, then you can just go to this playground and then test this one, or otherwise you are confident about using it, then you can just copy this API endpoint and then move back to your Power Automate. I'll just close this previous ones and I will paste this API endpoint. And in that queries, we are going to pass this token, and token we are going to get from, you can just go to your playground and copy this token, just place that token into queries and provide this URL, which is nothing but we are going to read that from our Power App, and we are good to go. So over here, I'll just add the next step, and that next step is of, because the content which we are going to get is in HTML, so we are going to extract that into the plain text. So I'll use the HTML to text conversion. So I'll use this action of HTML to text, and provide the content from our previous step, that is body of the previous execution. So once we have that in place, so we have this scraped content from our this Scrape.do, and in the next step we are going to take advantage of this AI builder, and we are going to run a prompt. And what we are going to do, like we are just going to do the extraction of our structured data out of this unstructured or messy text which we got from our previous run. So I'm going to just click on run a prompt, and in the run a prompt I will choose my custom prompt which I have already built. So I will show you like what I built is scraping content, and I built it today itself, and we are going to pass that input from our previous step. So I will say the plain text which we got from the previous step is passed to this run up prompt so that we can get the structured output. So I'll show you like what I mean by this run up prompt. So I will just go to my prompt builder area. So I'll click on prompts, and the prompt which I built is this scraping content. If I add it or open this one, you will see like what I have written. So I'll just close this. So in the prompt I have written that you are an AI that extract product listing from messy HTML or web page text, and the input is the input which we have passed to our this prompt, and as an output I need that into JSON format like this: title, image URL, price, item URL. So I will get a structured output from my this messy text input which we got from our previous styling. So you can specify the more instructions to your this prompt, and once you do that and click save, then this prompt will be created. So I named that as scraping content, and I will use that into my this Power Automate. So just as a prerequisite, create this under your prompts, and once you have that, run a prompt created so that you can have the structured output. And now we are going to respond that to our Power Automate so that we can use this JSON, and I will add that as output JSON, and this is of type text, and we are going to read the text from our previous run, that is run a prompt. So the output of a run a prompt, so this will give us a structured JSON, so that we are going to convert into table, and then we are going to show that into our gallery. So I'll just name that as web scraping 2.0, and I will save this Power Automate, and we are going to call this Power Automate on button click, and on this button click I am going to call this web scraping Power Automate dot run, and we are going to pass this text input, that is text input dot text, which is my site URL. And once we have this in place, then we are expecting the output into variable. So I will just set that variable so that we can use that variable as var raw result. And once we have that in place, I will just wish to convert my entire ParseJSON into my this collection so that I can bind that to my gallery. So for that we are going to just say clear collect, and I will just name that as, let's say, collection web scraping, and we are going to do this for all content which we are getting, and the table, because we have to convert that into table. So I'll just say, and inside table we are going to use this ParseJSON because the content which we are getting is in text, but it's a JSON content. So I'll show you that like what JSON content we are getting, and from here JSON.result.output JSON, and I will just indent so that we can read it properly. And over here we are going to define the columns for our table. So I will just enter that, and I will say title this record dot value, and we are going to use that from title because the content which we are going to get, because the prompt which we have built is giving us title, image URL, and price. So this is the expected JSON. So I'll just write it quickly. So we built out our JSON. I will just close the ParseJSON function, and I will close the for all also. So now with this we have this collection ready, that is called web scraping, and we can use this collection to bind to our gallery. So I will just say items to call web scraping, and you can then modify the image to read from the image URL. So I will say this item dot image, and it has to be in text. So I will convert that into text, and this is how I bind it to it. So once you run this and we are expecting our Power Automate to kick in and do the web scraping for us. So I will just again copy that Amazon example and I will paste that, and we'll run our Power Automate, and post running I will show you the executed steps what we are getting so that we can understand it properly. So now we can see the data, we got it, and you wish to like include the price as an X one more column, then you can just have this in place, just do a text label and just move that text label to the right of our gallery, and it automatically bound that to our gallery. So I can just resize this, and you can decide the width of all other columns as well. So this is how we can build a web scraping Power Automate, which is a robust, less expensive. I mean, like it's almost free because 1,000 credits are too much, and it's monthly credits, so we can live with it for any production solution also. So if I go to my this flows, let's take that flow in actual process steps. I've just opened it. So you will see that we have this when Power Apps calls a flow. HTTP is the call which we did for Scrape.do, and we can just look at the output which we are getting out of our this execution. So we can click on show raw output, and over here if I scroll down, we'll see like we have this body which is totally HTML web script body, and that is the same being depicted into this output body. And in the next step where we are going to provide input to our prompt, in the raw input you will see that we have provided this raw input, and this input is the extracted text out of our previous step of HTML to text conversion. And then finally we are responding that we are getting that into structured JSON. If I go to output of my this run a prompt step and click on this and just go down to text, so you will see like I have this entire JSON. So that is title and other fields. And if I just go to the last execution step, click open this, this is the final output which is being passed to our power app, and then we are interpreting that power app and showing the result. So it's quite a simple Power Automate to do any scraping for any public website. So instead of like going for any paid RPA tool, we can just simply build up this in few steps. So that is it for today's video. If you have any questions on this topic, then please do drop your comments. I'll try to answer. Thank you.